Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the University of Vermont Continuing and Distance Education webinar today. We are going to talk about three really exciting opportunities: our pre-college, our summer academy, and our guaranteed admission program. So we've got a full plate of items to get through today. My name is Nicole Willier-Fenton, and I am joined with Kristen Kalbashian. We'll go over a few minutes in terms of our different roles pertaining to the topics today. So we will do introductions, and as I mentioned, we're going to go through pre-college, summer academy, guaranteed admission program, and the dual enrollment, what that is and the process potentially for your student or for you to apply for that, the application process and deadlines, and then really as we summarize these different programs, which program is right for you or for your student if you are indeed a parent joining us today. As I mentioned, my name is Nicole Willier-Fenton, and I work in the Continuing and Distance Education Department at the University of Vermont. And I am joined with Kristen Kalbashian, who works with these students, with this audience in particular, our pre-college and our guaranteed admission students and our summer academy students. And you have been advising pre-college students for several years, and so you're very active with them.
As much as I can be.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about, and let me jump for a second before we go into the details here. If you have questions, please put them into that chat box that you're seeing on the screen. I will be monitoring those throughout the presentation. And any questions, we'll try to address what are the most common questions about these different programs. But if there's a particular question that we have not asked and answered today, please feel free to put that in that chat box. And we'll also have an opportunity at the end to hear the other questions. So what is pre-college? It sounds very obvious. It's courses and things before you get into college, but let's talk about what does pre-college mean at the University of Vermont. So when a parent says to you, are there opportunities for my high school student? What is pre-college and what are the opportunities here for them?
Sure. So it is basically just a high school student taking classes at the college level here at UVM. It can be on campus, it can be online. Mostly during the summer, we have online opportunities. It's an opportunity for the student to gain college credit, learn what college classes are like, the kind of requirements that the difference between the high school requirements and college requirements and expectations in a college class. So it's really a solid opportunity for students to figure out what it is to be a college student.
And sometimes to figure out what they might want to do, right? Because I feel like there's obviously it's wise to consider a course that would fit into your graduation requirements for your high school, but also could be a very wise transferable credit, right? But sometimes it's an opportunity for students to figure out if there's a particular area they're interested in.
So it does give students the chance to take classes that would not normally be provided in their high school environment. Mm-hmm. So they can take a little taste of things as they're here on campus. Hopefully it does fit into their academic plan, so it will help them graduate. Mm-hmm. But it does, it can be an elective as well. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're into something that's very specific and you want the opportunity to see what it really entails, this is a great time to do that.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I think is really important for parents to understand too is that those credits most likely are transferable, obviously into UVM, but if UVM is not the end all be all for you, that you can often take those credits with you. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. It's important to know that most universities will require a minimum grade of a C or better for it to be transferable. So we hope that students will do better than that, but it is a C or better is a typically transferable. And if it doesn't transfer as something as obvious as a history credit, hopefully it will transfer something as an elective.
Great, good to know. And you advise them on what courses to take. So how do you walk them through that process to make sure that they're navigating that in an effective way?
The conversations will typically happen between a student and a parent and the guidance counselor. So the student will have a conversation with a guidance counselor first and foremost to see what kind of requirements they still have outstanding that they could potentially fulfill here at the university. And then we will have a conversation as to what that could look like. So if you just have an English credit, well, that could mean so many different things. and trying to help them identify what their area of interest is, what course would be a good fit, what seems like an obvious transferable class, and that might be not be on their level, because we don't want them to get in over their heads.
Yeah, we want them to be successful. And one of the things too that, oh, I do see a question. Thank you very much, Wendy. The question is, are current high school seniors eligible for this program?
So absolutely. We'll get into the dual enrollment vouchers in a moment, but students in the high school level up to seniors at the high school level can take classes as a high school dual enrollment student their senior year as well as the summer after they graduate. So there is a tuition discount for high schoolers through the summer that they graduate up until the fall of matriculation.
Yeah, so, and you've seen some folks as early as 10th grade.
Correct.
Yeah, so 10th, 11th, and 12th.
In a very rare instance, we've had ninth graders. Very, very rare.
Oh my
That
goodness.
is an exceptional student.
That is an ambitious student.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about what you just referenced, the dual enrollment program. I think this is something that all Vermont parents should know about, because it really allows your student to take a course at the University of Vermont with no tuition fees. There's still a small processing fee that is required, but it really is an amazing opportunity to get college education at almost no cost. Why don't you describe what is the dual enrollment program?
So it is a state program that provides high schoolers in public high schools. There are very rare instances where a private high schooler would be eligible, but those students would know.
Yeah.
Their guidance counselor would be able to walk them through that. But it provides 2 vouchers, which would cover the price of tuition up to 4 credits. So you could take 2 4-credit classes and your tuition would be covered. There are comprehensive fees that the university charges that are not covered in that, but typically those are minimal. If you take one class, it's about $30.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can expand after that, but that's all. Most students take 1 class, maybe 2 classes at a time.
And can you take advantage of the dual enrollment your junior year and also your senior year? So can you take it multiple times?
So you are eligible for the voucher as a rising junior. So as soon as you're done with your sophomore year, that summer, you're eligible to start using your vouchers. And you can only use it up until your last semester of your senior year. You cannot use it during the summer of your senior year.
Okay.
Meaning after you graduate. So yes, so you can take it in 11th grade. You can use it in 11th grade and 12th grade. Beyond that though, it's really important to know that once you use your vouchers, you still receive a 50% tuition discount as a high schooler, which not a lot of people know, and I feel like that's really a message we want to spread far and wide, that you still get a discount.
To take advantage of a summer course.
Yeah, so if you're in high school, so even if you're a sophomore, junior, senior, and then the summer. Yeah.
And so when you've exceeded the voucher possibility, you still can take courses at 50% off.
Exactly.
Wow, that's fantastic. So we can talk more about the dual enrollment if you have additional questions. And I'm seeing Wendy ask, is this for Vermont residents only?
The vouchers are Vermont resident only, but the tuition discount is for all high school students across the country.
And Lisa asked a similar question, so hopefully that answered that for you, Lisa, as well. She had asked, what about out-of-state students? So there is still a high school student can take advantage of the 50% off tuition, which is an amazing opportunity. So let's keep those questions coming. I'm keeping an eye on them. So let's talk about, we're still talking about those pre-college courses. We'll get into the Summer Academy and the Guaranteed Admission Program in just a minute. And so then if you are not eligible for the dual enrollment, maybe maybe you're at a private school or you've used those credits thus far. Let's talk a little bit about in-state high school students, what that cost is, and then out of state, what we're seeing here on the slide.
Sure. So well, it's broken down there. So the cost per credit. So UVM charges tuition based on the amount of credits that you're taking. So it's roughly $341 something for in-state tuition, and then out-of-state is.
I think it's $860.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
$860 for out-of-state. So that's for 1 credit. So you would multiply that by however many
Many
credits
credits.
your
Yeah.
class is.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for that information. And all of this information is available on our website as well. And I'm going to take a quick look at the pre-college courses in a few minutes, so that we'll be able to just kind of, there are hundreds. And so it'll give you a glimpse as to the different opportunities that your high school student can take advantage of. And so let's talk about the timing of some of this. So these kind of courses for pre-college, as Kristen mentioned, can be taken on campus, online, and oftentimes in the summer too. You can follow the traditional academic calendar. In the summer, some of the courses are a little bit more condensed and more short. So really what you're seeing here, I think, and Kristen confirmed this, is you want to apply at least a week before the classes start. If you're using dual enrollment, you need to go probably a lot sooner than that. So
Right.
walk us through, if a parent calls and says, I'm interested in pre-college at this point, here we are in November, when would you suggest that they start that process and look at trying to start to enroll?
Sure. Well, for next spring, applications are already open, so you can be filling out
Right now.
the application
Yep.
right now, identify the classes that you want. And that is actually, for us, more, it's preferred, because if there are prerequisites that we have to follow up on, or we want to ask questions to the faculty to whether or not this is a good fit for a student, or want to talk to the student, then it gives us ample time and ample opportunity. And then we just don't want students to come in within 2 days of classes starting, just because there is a bit of a process with pre-college students. There is an application that has multiple stages. It is not similar. It is not like a traditional student on campus who can just go into their system and register online. So the more time, the better. And that also gives you the ability to do some changes in schedules too, if you need to flip things around.
And do you walk parents and students through a lot of this process?
We're happy to walk them through the process. And we work with guidance counselors a lot as well, because the system, especially for the new voucher system, which isn't new anymore, I guess we're a year in, but it still feels new. It still can be confusing and a challenge for people. So we help as best we can, and we're ready and willing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We are absolutely here to help with that. The other thing that I think is really important, as a parent, I think, well, my goodness, that's quite a leap for my high schooler to go on campus to UVM, and how will they navigate that, and how will they be supported? And one of the things that I think is really important for parents to know is that your student can take advantage of the support services that are afforded to the students here at UVM. And so what are just some of these examples of opportunities that students can take advantage of?
Sure. So the university has a wide variety of support services for students, including tutoring services. So each student can get 1 hour per subject per week of tutoring.
At no charge.
At no charge.
Right. Yeah.
This is why the comprehensive fees have come into play.
Yeah.
And there is also a writing center. So if there are papers that you want to have reviewed, you can utilize the writing center. We also have student support services if there are any accessibility issues or documented disabilities that we want to make sure students have the supports for inside the classroom and out. And there are counseling services as well.
Yeah, so we highly recommend, really have that experience here. If your student is coming on campus or online to take advantage of what it feels like here to be at UVM. So I am going to attempt to share my screen here and give you a look at what is our course listing. So this is just a quick sample of what is listed right now. And as I said, there are hundreds of classes. And so what you're seeing is, and they're alphabetical. And so you can look and take a look at this on our website, which is learn.uvm.edu. And so you can take a look. There's art studios, there's anthropology classes, there is English classes, there are chemistry classes, there are biology classes. There's no shortage of opportunities for your student here. And so I think that that's just a really exciting opportunity. When folks come in, and I know we've talked a little bit about trying to guide them towards a class that will meet the requirements for high school, but also be kind of a baseline class that could easily transfer wherever they wanted to go. Do parents and kids get sometimes overwhelmed at such a big list of courses? Do you help them focus in a particular area, or is there something really popular that oftentimes students end up taking?
Well, there's certainly popular courses, history, math, English classes tend to be some of the higher enrolled classes that we have for high school students. But it can be overwhelming, and we know we have students come in or parents call who say that my student really wants to do engineering or would like to explore animal sciences. How can we give them a taste of what that is? And so we can walk through some of the options. There are certainly classes that we would not recommend a high
High
schooler
schooler, yeah.
take because it is very time consuming, and we know this. But if there is an interest, we'll see what we can find. But there are all the classes that you would typically expect to be on a student's program or graduation requirements are there. History, social sciences, math, science, all of it.
What a great opportunity. We didn't have this opportunity when I was in high school to be able to take advantage of dual enrollment and these pre-college courses. So I think it's really exciting, and I'm thankful that we have parents on here today that are learning about this. So if you have additional pre-college course questions, again, please put them in that box. Let's move on to the next opportunity that is still pre-college, but it's a different experience. It's called Summer Academy. And what's unique about this, it takes that model of college prep and taking coursework and credits here at UVM, but it mixes with an on-campus residential experience. If you choose to stay and to be residential, there is a commuter option as well, which we'll talk about. So what is Summer Academy?
All right, Summer Academy is a hybrid program that we have on campus during July. Usually happens the month of July, and it is strictly for high school students. So parents can feel good that their high school student is with their peers.
Yep.
And so it is a 4-week program, 2 weeks on campus, 2 weeks online. It covers a myriad of topics, and I think that we might show you what the variety is this year. We've added some really new and exciting offerings, but we've had health and medicine for years, and that seems to be a very popular program. And biomedical sciences also, and drones. Those have been going on for a while and have been popular. But this year we have some really exciting
new opportunities too.
And it gives the student a feel of what it's like to live on a college campus, to be in a dorm, to experience campus life, but in an environment that's safe.
Yeah, that's structured. Always
correct.
have folks with them. And so here's a quick sample of the actual schedule. And this is tentative. Some things may shift a little bit, but this is what next summer, 2020, will look like in July. And so you can see that they're in classes, they're being integrated into the campus here. And over the weekend, it's always like, what do you do over the weekend? It's like summer camp, but with classes. And so they do a lot of fun weekend activities. They have evening activities. There's, oh my goodness, there's swimming, there's beaches, there's
ropes courses, there's trips to Ben and Jerry's, there's trips across Vermont, because summertime in Vermont is one of the
fantastic.
most beautiful times to be here. So there's lots of outdoor things, there's team building. So there's not a lack of things for them to be
and
doing.
downtime for them, because they are here to study as well, and so there's opportunity. And I have found, with speaking with a lot of the students that come to Summer Academy, that they really get together in study groups and support each other in the different classes, and they build that camaraderie. And I have also numerous students that I've spoken to come from all over the country that really think so fondly on this time and this experience, because it really sealed the deal for them, that this is the right major that they wanted to go into, because maybe they had interest in health and medicine, and so they took some hands-on classes here and with Larner College of Medicine faculty. And so it really is such an opportunity and a taste for what they could potentially be going into in the future. Let's pause for a minute. We have a video that we want to show you that does give you an kind of a behind-the-scenes look as to what the students experience here at Summer Academy. hopefully that gives you a little bit of a look at the activities, and the kids really have a great time.
I do.
Yeah,
I
they
do.
really do. And so, any questions about the Summer Academy, please let us know. And I do have just a couple quotes from students here, and I think the theme really is the experience of staying on campus and getting to know your peers and learning from them as well, and just eating in the dining halls and seeing what it feels like to be in a dorm, getting up on time for your classes, right? As we know, that can be tricky. And so I think it's just a really great glimpse, and it's 2 weeks on campus, so it's manageable and it feels like probably a great taste. I do have a couple questions coming in. Yes, yep, we'll go over the cost here in just a moment. And Amy's asking, do the students earn college credits for this program?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. These are credit-bearing courses, 3 credits, and as long as you complete it and you get a grade, it's transcripted.
And I think that's an important thing to make note of, is that you do want to be mindful of how you're doing in these classes, because your transcript follows you.
Yes.
And so that's something you advise a lot to
Yes.
students and to parents.
Yes, I heard in a conference, grades are like diamonds, they're forever.
So
we
good thing
try
to
to
keep
use
in
that.
mind.
It's corny, but it works.
And so we did make mention there's a residential program, which we've been talking a lot about, where the students attend and stay on campus. But there's also a commuter program. A lot of Vermonters take part of this. As I mentioned, people come from all over the country, but a lot of Vermonters as well. Folks in South Burlington will just drive in for the day and for Jens, and I've spoken with people from Heinsberg, and so there's really opportunities here for both sides. And so yes, there were questions about cost. I believe I had grabbed these slides just a couple days ago. I believe the most up-to-date information is now on our website as well. But the residential program fee for in-state, and where does the dual enrollment fit into this? And so the dual enrollment applies for Summer Academy as well.
Correct. So you can use your dual enrollment voucher to pay for the tuition portion of Summer Academy. So as we said, Summer Academy is a credit-bearing course. So you would be paying for tuition for the credit in the course. And then if you choose to stay on campus, you must pay the program fee, which we have posted, which is now $14.99.
Yep.
It's similar to last year, actually.
I think it's the same.
It's
Yeah, I
the
don't think it
same.
changed. Yeah.
So again, if you're in state, you use the dual enrollment voucher, your tuition is free.
Yep. So it's just the residential if you choose to be on campus.
And then you would only pay the residential fee to stay on campus plus the fees. So each course has a small fee attached to it, lab
like
fees
lab
because
fees,
of materials,
books
et cetera,
and things.
and then the comprehensive fee. So it is at a great advantage for students to use their dual enrollment voucher if they wanted to be a resident in this program.
Yeah.
But then conversely, if you're an in-state student and you want to just use the commuter option,
Yep.
you
Absolutely.
can use your voucher for to pay for tuition, and that is covered.
That's a great
except for the
opportunity.
fees. Correct.
And then out of state, we have a lot of out of state students, as I mentioned, that come in for the Summer Academy program. And so then it's the tuition fee and then the residential program fee, which we just mentioned was just updated on the website of $14.99.
Right. And again, this tuition is at the 50% discount.
Right.
So this is a discounted tuition.
It's still an amazing savings. And here we just have some information up on the commuter. And so if you are a Vermont resident and driving in seems like a great idea, then that's something that you can also explore and use that dual enrollment for those fees as well. And on occasion, it's not to say that somebody from New York could certainly come over and do the commuter as well. And so that's an opportunity if you have a high schooler over in New York or close by that you feel like, oh, driving in, for the hour is totally reasonable too. You can take advantage of commuter for out of state too. So I do have a good question here from Lisa, criteria for acceptance into the Summer Academy.
So each application has a personal statement that a student should fill out to just give us a sense as to why you feel that this program is for you. And then there is a minimum GPA requirement. We want students to have a 2.8 GPA.
Okay, great.
And that's important because these are college level classes, so we want to make sure that a student can be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. We are absolutely mindful of their success. We want this to be a good experience for them. So we're going to move on to our last program that we're talking about today, which is our guaranteed admission program. And so this is a really wonderful program and this is for folks who have graduated from high school. And so as we know, sometimes that path is a little bit of a winding road. You know, you may detour off and work for a bit. I've spoken with many students who have gone through our guaranteed admission program who took a year off to work and then decided that they then wanted to explore coming to UVM. I've spoken with students who didn't get into UVM and it was their first choice and they didn't get in, and they said, well, how do I still make that, you know, how do I make that happen for me if that's really what they wanted to do? And I've also spoken with students too that have chosen to go to another school their first year and didn't, it wasn't a right fit for them. And so this is also somewhat of a, you could almost consider it somewhat of a transferable program as well with some of the requirements that we have in here with our guaranteed admission. So that's kind of giving you a glimpse of the different opportunities and ways that people come to UVM through our guaranteed admission program. So what is the guaranteed admission program?
Right, well, it's just that. So the guaranteed admission program is an alternative entry into UVM. It is a contracted agreement between the student, the college of their choice, so arts and sciences, education, engineering, et cetera, and the admissions office. And it basically says if, you know, the student agrees to complete 18 credits worth of coursework that is identified on the contract and receive a 3.0 GPA. And if the student completes those requirements on the contract, then they are automatically admitted into the university. They still have to go through the process of filling out a transfer admissions application, but it is kind of they're guaranteed to get the stamp as long as everything else lines up. Then they're in.
And I've met some absolutely amazing students that have gone on to pursue their college education and their dreams when they didn't think it necessarily was possible. And so this program is really just amazing. And I think it's good to hear from some of those students too. I've spoken to a couple of these folks, and May actually came through transfer. She went to another school and it just wasn't a right fit for her. So she was so happy to be here as a transfer student via the guaranteed admission program. And so, you know, and I love Philip's quote that he said to me. He said, persevere and you'll get there. If that's what you want to do and UVM is where you want to go, then, you know, break through some of those barriers and figure out a way that you can make that happen. So I always appreciate their perspective because they're the ones who go through it. And so I know we've talked about this. And so the 18 credit hours of approved courses, walk me through that contract. How do you develop that contract with that student?
So it really is geared towards the student and the college that they are trying to gain admission to. So we have a conversation as to where their strengths are and where their interests lie, and we try to identify classes that fit those characteristics, but also will fulfill distribution requirements or general education requirements. Because what we want to do is make sure that the classes that you are taking will help you should you choose to sidestep into a different college. So you may enter through the College of Education, but then decide you want to switch over into the College of Arts and
Nursing
Sciences
or Health and Sciences.
Exactly.
Yeah, something that,
So we want to make it that it is those are transferable. Now, at the end of the day, students still need 120 some odd credits to graduate. In most majors, it's 120 credits. So if it's an elective, great, and maybe you learned something. Maybe you learned that isn't something you want to do, or maybe it's something you had never considered before. So it is the contract process takes a while because we want to make sure that students are really getting into what they like and what they're good at, because we want them to be successful and take classes that'll help them move forward.
And that's a great point. And Wendy, I'll get to your question in just a moment. And so I wanted to touch on what is this course required as part of the guaranteed admissions course. And I honestly think it should probably be required for all freshmen, for everybody, adults, everybody. It's first year foundations. It's like the foundations of learning, you know, teaching you how to be a good student, teaching you study habits, but unique to you, trying to figure out how you do this for you. And I've heard from students that have gone through this program just how beneficial this was, and that they were the ones that said to me, shouldn't everybody be taking this class? So
and they should.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, walk through why we do this and what do they get out of it?
Sure, it's a 1 credit class. So students will take this, and it really is to help lay the foundations for success. You may not come in with solid time management skills. You may not know how to navigate the university or understand that there are resources available, or even know how to do research in some instances. So this provides students these fundamentals on how to be successful at UVM.
Yep.
Specific to UVM.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wendy was asking, what are some of the courses in this program? And so I don't necessarily know that we had a slide on the courses in the program. It depends on what college you're looking at, as Kristen has said, if you're thinking about Rubenstein for environment or the College of Education. So what are some of the samplings that you often have folks do?
While there are differences, they are very similar. Like I said, we try to hit upon distribution requirements. So a student with the 18 credits will oftentimes choose English. Every student at the university has to complete a written English course. So written expression is one of the most popular. So we identify an English class, a humanities. So we try to keep it as general as possible so that you can choose based on your interest level. So a humanities course could be history, philosophy, religion, based on your college. So you will put humanities, but that gives you the chance to say, well, I really love history, so I'm going to take history. Math or a natural science. We have diversity requirements here at UVM. So we'll often put diversity courses on there. And again, it would just be a D1 or D2. We have a couple of different diversity. I won't go into that.
Right.
And then sustainability. So just trying to keep it as general as possible so that based on a student's strengths and interests, they can choose classes that would basically check off that box.
Right, and easily can carry along with them for those credits as well. And so this is rolling application. And so it's one of those circumstances that if somebody's interested in starting in the GAP program in the spring, which would be in January that we would be starting, that certainly make a phone call, reach out to Kristen, let us know so that they can understand what process they need to go through and what pieces they need to start collecting for the application. And you mentioned to me too, which I thought was really interesting, is that if GAP students can kind of come in at the last minute a little bit too, because if they wanted to start, they could start taking a few classes and then hopefully roll it into that current semester. Is that true? Walk me through that process.
Yeah, sometimes students don't hear about the program until they're already in classes, so they'll come to us maybe mid-semester and inquire, and it is something that we can really work with students on to as long as they meet their criteria. So guaranteed admissions, there is still a criteria to be admitted into the guaranteed admissions program. So as long as you're approved in that aspect, we can retroactively add classes that you're currently taking to a contract. So if you're in fall classes, we can add those to a contract, and then we would make up the rest of the 18 credits for the next semester. And get that through approval process.
Yeah, so lots of flexibility with really the intention of trying to get folks here and successful. And so we really appreciate that. Lisa's asking, how long is it typical to complete the required credit hours for the GAP program?
Most students do it in 2 semesters. So three classes and 3 classes. It can look a little different depending on when you enter into the program. We've had students start in the summertime and to finish up the coursework in the fall. So it can look a little different, but 2 semesters is a typical timeline.
And there are courses that they can take online.
Correct. During the summer, more so than any other time of year. We have limited online options during the academic year. Hopefully those will be building, but during the summertime, the majority of our classes are offered online. And there are 3 different summer sessions, so students can take 3 classes in May, June, and July. Just to get through some of the requirements.
That's great. Thank you so much for all that information. So here's a question that I'm sure Kristen gets a lot. Well, which one? Which program? They're all
of them.
Yeah, all of the above. And so I just thought this might be helpful for parents to say, okay, which program is right for my students? And maybe just give us a quick summary in terms of, where does the pre-college courses fit, summer academy and guaranteed admission?
Sure. So the pre-college and summer academy are really for your 11th, 12th grader, maybe your 10th grader, depending. We've had students do all of the above. They took a pre-college class. They
Came
went
for
into
Summer
Came
Academy.
for Summer Academy. Maybe came for Summer Academy again. We have had
Yeah.
people do multiple summer
Mhm.
academies. And then we've had pre-college students who tried to gain admission into the university, were either put on a wait list or were denied for one reason or another, so they came to us for GAP.
Mm.
And so we worked up a GAP contract.
So lots of different ways in.
There's-
And I think that's really what the point is too, pathways to UVM. There's lots of different opportunities, hopefully, to get your students here and into college and onto the career that they're looking for. And so just pausing again, I know we've had some good questions come in. Thank you, everybody, for those questions today. Is there, I always love this too, is there like the one question that you get most often or the top two questions that parents usually ask? And I know these programs are a little bit different, but, or what is like one of the main concerns that parents have about their student success?
I think that just knowing that the student is supported. So we work with the student. We try to help them navigate UVM because of all the resources we have. And then since they're still in high school, they can still tap into their high school resources as well. A lot of parents want to know if they're in classes with college students, and yes, they are. During the academic year, they are. Summer Academy, like we said, is just with other high school students, but during the academic year, you are in classes with all
freshmen, sophomore, whatever
exactly,
it is.
all the levels.
Truly
all
the
levels.
college experience. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for your questions today. We're going to wrap up. Our website is listed at learn.uvm.edu, and down at the bottom of the website, you'll see a pre-college and summer academy opportunity. And so the courses, the spring courses are listed. We went through those again today for pre-college. So take a look. Maybe there's something that your student might be interested in. And then summer academy, the application is live today. And so if there's interest in summer academy, it would be wonderful to just start that process and start thinking about what courses they might be interested in, or at least get on our email list so that as things progress that you'll be notified of that as well. Thank you, Kristen.